The grim sleeper, caught by his son's DNA. For more than 25 years, a predator moved silently through the streets of South Los Angeles. Victims vanished, evidence piled up, and investigators realized they were facing someone unlike anything they had ever seen before. Then, suddenly, the killing stopped. 14 years of silence, no leads, no movement, just a ghost haunting cold case files. Detectives and journalists gave him a name, the Grim Sleeper. But his downfall would come from something no one expected, a DNA match from his own son. South LA in the 1980s to 2000s. To understand this case, you have to understand the environment where it happened. South Los Angeles in the 1980s through the early 2000s was a community facing intense pressure. Rising crime, economic struggle, drug epidemics, and deep distrust between residents and police. Many neighborhoods were underserved, many crimes went unreported, and many victims, especially women from disadvantaged backgrounds, didn't receive the urgency their cases deserved. It was in this environment that a killer began to operate, quietly, consistently, and without fear. The first pattern. Throughout the mid-1980s and into the early 90s, investigators began linking a series of murders through ballistics, crime scene similarities, DNA, victim profile overlaps. The cases stretched across multiple years, but the evidence kept pointing in one direction. These crimes were connected. They were the work of a single offender. Still, no suspect name surfaced. No suspect description. The killer was invisible. The 14-year sleeper period. Then something strange happened. After years of activity, the killings appeared to stop. No new linked cases. No new DNA. No new ballistic matches. Detectives were baffled. Had the killer died? Moved away? Been jailed for something unrelated? The public, desperate for answers, gave him a chilling name, the Grim Sleeper, because it seemed as if he went dormant. But decades later, investigators would learn the truth. He never truly stopped. He simply slipped through the cracks. The breakthrough. By the 2000s, DNA technology had evolved dramatically. Cold cases across Los Angeles were being reprocessed, and detectives began using a brand new technique, familial DNA matching. Instead of looking for an exact match, the system searched for genetic relatives. In 2010, everything changed. A young man named Christopher Franklin, arrested on an unrelated weapons charge, had his DNA entered into the database, and immediately, red flags appeared. Christopher wasn't the killer, but the DNA was close, very close. Detectives realized the suspect was most likely a first-degree male relative. This was the moment the case shifted, and all eyes turned toward Christopher's father, Lonnie David Franklin Jr. Tailing the suspect. Lonnie Franklin Jr. was a name almost nobody expected. A former sanitation worker, a city mechanic, a neighbor described as friendly, helpful, even quiet. But his home was located exactly inside the geographic cluster of the murders. His work routes matched several victim locations, and his access to mechanical tools explained how he dismantled evidence. Detectives placed him under surveillance, but to make an arrest, they needed an exact DNA confirmation. So they set up a sting operation. An undercover officer disguised as a waiter collected Franklin's discarded pizza crust and utensils during a public outing. When forensic analysts tested the DNA from the trash, it was a perfect match. The Grim Sleeper had finally been found. The arrest. On July 7, 2010, a fully armed LAPD SWAT team descended on Franklin's home. Inside, investigators found firearms, photographs of numerous women, personal items, and evidence linking him to multiple crime scenes. Neighbors were stunned. He was known as the friendly guy next door. No one suspected he was connected to one of the longest-running serial murder cases in California history. After decades of fear, silence, and unanswered questions, detectives finally had their man. Trial and conviction. Franklin's trial began in 2016. Prosecutors presented decades of DNA forensic evidence, witness testimonies, ballistics matches, victim case timelines. Even after so many years, the evidence remained strong. In May 2016, Lonnie Franklin Jr. was convicted of 10 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. He was sentenced to death. For many families, it was a moment of closure long overdue. Trial and conviction. Franklin's trial began in 2016. Prosecutors presented decades of DNA forensic evidence, witness testimonies, ballistics matches, victim case timelines. Even after so many years, the evidence remained strong. In May 2016, Lonnie Franklin Jr. was convicted of 10 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. He was sentenced to death. For many families, it was a moment of closure long overdue. Aftermath and death in prison. Franklin was incarcerated at San Quentin State Prison. On March 28, 2020, he was found unresponsive in his cell. He was pronounced dead shortly after. No signs of foul play were found. With his death, the story of the grim sleeper officially ended, but its impact continues to shape the way investigators approach cold cases, DNA evidence, and familial matching. This case proved that even after decades, science can speak for the victims. Legal disclaimer. All individuals involved in any criminal investigation remain innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. In this case, Lonnie Franklin Jr. was convicted in 2016.
That was the story of the grim sleeper, caught by his son's DNA. Another chapter closes, and the echoes of this case fade into history. As always, we remember the victims, honor their stories, and acknowledge the work of investigators who spent years pursuing the truth. With every episode, our goal is to understand, not sensationalize, and to keep important conversations alive. If you found this breakdown informative, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new deep dive from true crime territory. Your engagement helps the channel grow and allows us to continue bringing important cases to light. Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.